other, right? So let's take a closer look at each of them. Now first, let's see this small farm over here. This is Raghu's farm. Raghu lives here with his family. He cultivates some crops in his small plot of agricultural land. His wife and kids help him with farming. The crops that Raghu produces is enough to feed his family. Whatever surplus crops that he might produce, he stores and keeps it for future use. As the farming is done on a small scale, Raghu uses only handheld equipment and not any large machinery. Now, let's check in on the large farm. This is Pranav's farm. Pranav lives on this farm with his family. Pranav produces a vast quantity of crops for selling in the market. As the area of land cultivated is large, Pranav cannot possibly do it by himself. Therefore, he employs laborers and uses several machines for cultivation. So we just got to see two different types of farms. Let's look at the major differences between these two farms. Raghu's farm with a small plot of land and the consumption of the produced crops by the farmer's family itself is a prime example of subsistence farming. Pranav's farm with a large plot of land, production of the crops with the help of machinery, and the selling of the crops commercially is a prime example of commercial farming. So let us take a look at subsistence farming in detail. Subsistence agriculture is not practiced in the same way everywhere. Based on how it is, subsistence agriculture can be classified into two types: intensive subsistence agriculture and primitive subsistence agriculture. Let's see intensive subsistence agriculture first. Raghu farms on his small plot manually, and thus he needs to expend a large amount of labor tending to his farm. For a small area, the yield is very high as the farmer utilizes the land to the maximum. Crops are generally produced for consumption by the family. Heavy machinery is generally not used in this kind of farming. People living in densely populated regions practice intensive subsistence agriculture. This type of agriculture is practiced mainly in South and Southeast Asia, including China and India. Rice, wheat, millets, oilseeds, pulses are some of the crops cultivated. Now let's look at in detail primitive subsistence farming. Now primitive subsistence farming includes shifting cultivation or slash and burn farming and nomadic herding. So first let's take a look at shifting cultivation. For slash and burn cultivation, a patch of land is identified in the forest. The first step constitutes the trees in that patch of land being cut down. The treeless patch of land is then set on fire. Now this releases rich nutrients into the soil, making it fertile and suitable for agriculture. The seeds are sown and the crops are harvested. These crops usually include maize, yam, potatoes and cassava. farming is done, the same patch of land is used again. This cycle goes on for a few years until the soil loses all of its nutrients. Once the soil loses its fertility completely, the piece of land is abandoned and a new piece of land is identified. And we go through the whole process again. This type of farming is practiced in the thickly forested areas of the Amazon basin in Brazil, where it is called roca. Mexico, where it is called milpa. Tropical Africa and parts of Southeast Asia. In India, it is known as jhum cultivation and is practiced in the northeastern part of India as well as some regions of the Chota Nagpur plateau. Nowadays, many countries have prohibited shifting cultivation as it is harmful to the environment and it leads to a loss of biodiversity. Another method of primitive subsistence farming is nomadic herding. Now, nomads are people who travel from one place to another. But why do they travel? Well, this type of journey occurs due to changes in the climatic conditions and terrain. If these become unfavorable, the nomads have to move. All right, let's take a look at the Gujjar Bakarwals of Jammu and Kashmir region. Now, the Gujjar Bakarwal are herders of goat and sheep. In the winter, mountain tops are covered with snow. Therefore, they stay in the low hills range. During summertime, when the snow melts, they migrate to high mountains which will provide pasture for their herds. Thus, in order to escape the harsh climatic conditions, people move from one place to another. This type of migration from one place to another is called nomadic herding. Sheep, camels, yak, and goats are the animals which are usually reared by the nomads. They provide the nomads with milk, meat, wool, hides, and various other useful products. Next up, commercial farming. Pranav farms on his plot with the help of machines. His farm is large and he produces crops for selling in the market. The sort of farming that Pranav follows is called commercial farming. Thus, commercial farming is the type of farming where crops are grown using machinery and animals are raised to be sold in the market for a profit. It not only includes farming on a large scale, but also encompasses large-scale dairy farming, poultry, and raising animals for selling in the market. Commercial farming is of three types: extensive agriculture, plantation agriculture, and mixed farming. So first, let's learn about extensive agriculture. Extensive agriculture is also known as commercial grain farming. It involves cultivating grains such as wheat, rice, oats, and maize for selling in the market. Now, to practice this type of farming, you need a lot of capital, a vast amount of land, and access to high-tech machinery. It is widely practiced in the temperate grasslands of North America and Europe. Now, in commercial grain farming, crops are cultivated to be sold in markets, and then these crops are usually consumed. But what about crops such as cotton or rubber? These crops are not grains, but are are sold in the market for a profit. Sugarcane, cashew, rubber, bananas, tea, coffee, or cotton are commercially cultivated in large farms called plantations or estates. Let's consider the example of a tea plantation. Now, tea is produced from the leaves of tea plants. To collect tea leaves, manual laborers are required in large numbers. After tea leaves are collected, they have to be processed before it gets spoiled. Therefore, factories that process tea leaves should be located nearby or inside the plantation itself. Now, tea is produced from the leaves of tea plants. To collect tea leaves, manual laborers are required in large numbers. After tea leaves are collected, they have to be processed before it gets spoiled. Therefore, factories that process tea leaves should be located nearby or inside the plantation itself. Thus, plantation farming requires a lot of manual labor and development of transport networks to link estates to factories. Cultivation of rubber in Malaysia, coffee in Brazil, tea in India and Sri Lanka are some of the examples of plantation agriculture. Next, we come to mixed farming. Let me tell you the story of Satish, a friendly neighborhood farmer from Kachipura. So Satish grows some crops on his farm, but he has a problem. Selling these crops alone will not be sufficient to earn a living. Satish wants steady income throughout the year. So, along with growing crops, he is using the land to rear animals. This sort of farming where the land is used both to grow food and fodder crops and rear animals is called mixed farming. Though initially, mixed farming was practiced on a small scale, now it is practiced on a large scale for commercial purposes. Let's take a look at where mixed farming is followed. Mixed farming is common in India, Europe, Argentina, Australia, the USA, South Africa, and New Zealand. All types of commercial farming usually involves the use of large amount of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. However, the indiscriminate use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides can damage the soil in the long run and make farming unsustainable. Organic farming has been put forward by a few as a solution. But what is organic farming? Organic farming is a type of agriculture which involves the cultivation of plants in natural ways. This process involves the use of natural materials such as compost as fertilizers. Genetically modified crops are not used to increase the yield either. Sounds good, right? You will be glad to know then that Sikkim recently became the first complete organic state, not only in India, but in the entire world. Way to go, Sikkim! Farmers who practice subsistence agriculture grow their own crops, mainly to meet their everyday food requirements. Subsistence agriculture can be classified into two types: intensive subsistence agriculture and primitive subsistence agriculture. Primitive subsistence farming is divided into two types: shifting or slash and burn farming and nomadic herding. Shifting cultivation or jhum cultivation farming is when several nomadic tribes move from place to place in order to search for food and water for themselves and their animals. Commercial farming is the type of farming where crops are grown using machinery. Commercial farming is of three types: extensive agriculture or commercial grain farming, plantation agriculture, and mixed farming. Extensive farming is where the farmer grows crops on a large piece of land using machinery and a lot of capital, and the product is sold in the market for a profit. Plantation agriculture involves cultivating a single crop like tea, coffee, sugarcane, cotton, cashew, rubber, banana, and so on. The sort of farming where the land is used both to grow food crops and rear livestock is called mixed farming. Organic farming is a type of agriculture which involves the cultivation of plants and rearing of animals in natural ways.